My Lords, I've heard it said that these actions are caused by incitement by the Palestinians themselves. The children throw stones and sticks, carry scissors and knives, and the government of Israel say this is sufficient reason for the IDF to behave in the way they do. I question that. What wimps those soldiers must be if they, in their helmets and bullet-proof vests, armed to the teeth, are afraid of children throwing stones and sticks or carrying scissors. Finally, my Lords, I appeal to those eminent Jewish peers in this House who I respect in every way, and especially for the work I know they do with eminent and good Israeli colleagues in Israel. I respect them hugely. But their support for the Israeli government, especially over the last few years, is simply not deserved. They could follow Jews for Justice for Palestinians and lead a movement from the Jewish diaspora in this country to make the government of Israel see sense before it destroys that country from within and takes the Middle East and the wider world with her.
I was grateful to the Noble Lord Warner for introducing this debate because this is a very important subject. I was able to go on a trip to Israel in February of this year, organised by my noble friend Lord Pollock and paid for by the Israeli government. And that was the first time I've been to Israel since 1967. It's actually quite a long time, and it has changed very dramatically in the meantime. During our visit there, we went to the West Bank, and I was quite surprised to find that all the Palestinians, or virtually aren't any Christian Palestinians left now, are actually Sunni Muslims. But at the same time, you find, rather surprisingly for me, that on the West Bank it is quite possible to buy whiskey, wine and beer. So the Palestinian Sunnis do not really abide by extreme Sunni Muslimism. But the radicalization of Sunni Muslims comes via the schools on the West Bank, where the rhetoric is a very nasty form of anti-Semitism, the sort of thing that we associate with Nazi Germany. They accuse Jews of being unworthy of any role to play in the world, and they liken them to vermin, as the Nazis used to do in Germany. The result of this radicalization is that a number of young Palestinians have actually found their way into Israel proper and murdered Israelis on the streets of Israel. When we were there, about 18 Israelis have been killed in the previous few months that we've been there. Those atrocities have dropped, but there was an instance of an Israeli being murdered just the other day. Well, that's pretty awful. In my opinion, it's even more awful when you discover that the Education Authority on the West Bank is actually financed by the European Union. And in answer to a question that I put down, my noble friend Lady Verma told me that actually the EU spends 290 million euros in aid to the West Bank authorities, and 14.5% of that comes from the United Kingdom.